It's a paying job. I'm a paid member of the city legal staff, which is a part-time job, and a pretty time-consuming job, but of course it has its aspect of public service, but being paid, that aspect is somewhat different from the fellow who serves.
Were you appointed immediately after his coming into office, or?
I've been on the city legal staff for some years. Edmund Orgel asked me to serve on it when he became mayor. And I served continuously up until last fall through 2 or 3 administrations. Ingram also asked me to be on it. I handled some cases for the city while Ingram was mayor. I resigned from the city legal staff last October because at that time there was a race between Ingram and Loeb, and I felt that Loeb's election was better than having Ingram elected, and I told Ingram that I appreciated his having me on the legal staff, and I was glad to serve, but that I felt it best I resigned. Normally I would not have thought about resigning because I look on that type of service as a professional service and not a political involvement, but conditions were such at that time that I think that the atmosphere was such that I think it was so totally political that I resigned in order to stay away from a lot of petty implications about anything. I think by resigning, I was good and clear of the whole gang and could just do as I pleased. Normally, I could do that anyway. For example, when Edmund Orgel was running against Loeb some years ago, even though Edmund had asked me to serve as a city lawyer, I was for Loeb, and it never, I don't think, ever entered Edmund's head that I was a lawyer on the city staff, nor did it enter mine or anybody's. But it was a different atmosphere when Ingram was mayor.
Would you care to comment further on that?
On the resignation?
No, on what you call the atmosphere. On reflection, I mean, does it, you indicate, of course, that it didn't happen before, because wouldn't you agree that the atmosphere had something to do with succeeding events?
No question about that. Ingram tended to make use of the various city offices and city agencies as political, for their political support, if he could get it.
Like the spoil system.
Very much so, and the city legal department had pretty much, under somebody like Frank Giannotti, it's virtually totally removed from politics and is a professional group. Almost like we always look at the doctors, because people think doctors have a certain detachment from the world, which I think they probably do, and if you can say that you're like a bunch of doctors, it sort of cleans you up, see. Well, it would be like having several doctors on a staff serving the city. It just wouldn't have the typical political relationship, though being lawyers, there would necessarily be some in many instances. Well, under Frank Giannotti, when he was city attorney, and there isn't any political involvement. Under Ingram, everything was politics. The best thing to do, if you were related to Ingram in any way, was just get out and not get involved in it. Then nobody could really say anything. So it was that was really the reason I just felt better about openly supporting Loeb under those conditions.
Yes, sir. All right, now if we could, unless there's something that happened between January 1st and February 5th.
Yeah, of course, all that was completely unrelated to the strike matter, but it presumably would be of some interest to you. Yes, on this Sunday, before the strike began, Henry Loeb called me at my house. And
was it in the morning, sir?
I would say so. I came over, I think, after lunch on an early Sunday afternoon, and said that he had heard that there was a strike in prospect in the sanitation department. Mr. Blackman was there, and Myron Halley came over. There were 4 of us, to my recollection. We discussed it in general terms. It was brought out that the sanitation department had a lot of accumulated problems, that there had been the possibility or potential of a strike the preceding year or some period shortly theretofore. And there were many things in the sanitation department that needed remedying. Blackman was aware of that, and Loeb was aware of it. And they had gone so far a year or two ago, or before this date I referred to, this Sunday, as to obtain an injunction against a strike in the state court, Chancery Court.
Had you been involved?
I
in
was
that?
not involved in that. They employed a labor lawyer named Weintraub to do that. Weintraub handled it. There was no strike, of course, at that time. We really, I don't think, knew how imminent the strike was that Sunday. We simply, I think what Loeb was trying to do was alert Halley and me as lawyers to be available to assist Blackman, who he wanted to go right ahead and handle it. Loeb wanted it to be in Blackman's hands since that was Blackman's department.